This is Solent Sports News. It's 2 o'clock. Breaking news in Leicester's search for a new manager. Brendan Rodgers is set to quit Scottish champions Celtic to take over the reign at the Foxes. It is expected that Neil Lennon would be Celtic's choice to replace the departing manager until the end of the season. Having spent time in the Premier League before with Liverpool and Swansea, Rodgers accepts to a new challenge with mid-table Leicester. It looks set to be an interesting week of Premier League football. Here's football correspondent Connor Murphy with a preview of this week's fixtures.
An interesting weekend of football in the Premier League started on Friday evening when Watford travelled to Cardiff and West Ham hosted Fulham. The Hornets beat the Bluebirds 5-1 and the Hammers beat their London counterparts 3-1. On Saturday, Burnley beat title-chasing Tottenham, Bournemouth ground out a draw at home to high-flying Wolves, Newcastle beat relegation strugglers Huddersfield, and in a late kick-off, Crystal Palace overturned Leicester in their own ground, with Wilfried Zaha bagging 2 goals. On Sunday, recently resurgent Manchester United played out a disappointing draw at home to Liverpool, who went 1 point clear of Manchester City at the top of the table. And finally, Arsenal beat Southampton 2-0 with Lacazette and Mkhitaryan with the goals.
Some local football news now, and Sholing FC lost 3-1 to Northwich Victoria in the FA Vase quarter-final. The boatmen travelled up to Cheshire with the hope of reaching Wembley for the first time since 2014. Our local correspondent Matt Ponter was at the game.
Lost since September, a 3-0 loss to Slough Town in the FA Cup. Since they had scored in every single game and travelled 100 fans in fact in hope of another victory. 4.5 hours as well. Lee Watt scored on 25 minutes, his 39th goal of the season, before seeing red just before half-time. Cook equalised for Northwich Victoria on the stroke of half-time, and the next goal came in the 112th minute in extra time before Daryl Mason sealed the victory for the home side.
Yeah, obviously very disappointed. All the lads are very disappointed. I thought we did enough to win the game, to be honest with you. But to go down and sort of play 77 minutes with 10 minutes, it's always going to be difficult. But I thought the lads showed great character, and I thought there's only going to be one team going to win it, to be honest with you, in extra time. But no, that's the way it goes. Unfortunately, when we won the Vase back in 2014, there was a couple of games where we really sort of got the rub of the green.
Moving on to cricket, and a former Sri Lankan captain has found himself in hot water. Sanath Jayasuriya has been banned from the sport for 2 years after being found guilty of corruption. The left-handed batsman, who retired in 2012, averaged 40.01 in 110 test matches. And on to rugby now, and England have drafted a new face into their Six Nations squad. Courtney Lawes was injured in the fixture against Wales, where Eddie Jones's side lost 21-13. Bath lock Charlie Ewells has replaced the Northampton Saints' second row. Now on to boxing, and tensions between two heavyweights are heating up. Sparks were flying at the press conference yesterday between world champion Anthony Joshua and American Jarrell Miller. The fight takes place at Madison Square Gardens on June the 1st. Here's Dan Swallow with more.
Number one, Miller's a little I'm going to knock him on June 1st. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt. He's an ex-kickboxer, drug abuser. Fury knocked him out 7 times, right? He's the softest puncher in the heavyweight division.
AJ will be taking his gloves across the pond this summer. His 22 victories without a single defeat will be under threat by Jarrell Miller, who himself boasts an undefeated record. At 22 stone, 7 pound, Miller will be the heaviest challenger AJ has faced. I asked the British public how the champion will fare in the States.
To be fair, I think it will be an even fight. It's a different competitor, it's a different area to be fair, so I think he's got a lot to prove.
You know, it's not the same as being at Wembley when you've got everyone supporting you. You've got Americans, you know, not supporting you.
I think any time Joshua fights, it's a big occasion, certainly over here anyway, as the boxing world. It's probably been one of the biggest boxers we've had over since Lennox Lewis, probably.
This upcoming fight promises to be one for the ages. Is the champion remaining on top? Can AJ perform away from home, or will the challenger reign supreme? Find out June the 1st.
In tennis, one of the all-time greats is through to the next round of the Dubai Championships. Roger Federer is targeting his 100th ATP singles title after winning his 99th in October. The 20-time Grand Slam champion needs 3 sets to beat German Philipp Kohlschreiber and to progress further in the competition. The reigning world darts champion has been maintaining his perfect form. Michael van Gerwen has won all 3 of his Premier League matches, the only player in the competition to do so. He beat Rob Cross 7 legs to 2 in Dublin. It's been an exciting week for motorsports fans. F1 testing began this morning in Barcelona, and here's racing correspondent Rob Lomas with the latest.
Antonio Giovinazzi topped the morning timesheets on the first day of the second week of Formula One's pre-season testing at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Spain. The Italian driver, driving for Alfa Romeo, set his fastest lap inside the last 20 minutes of the session with a 1 minute 18.5 to remove Red Bull's Pierre Gasly from the top spot. It is interesting to note, though, that Giovinazzi set his time on Pirelli's second softest tyre compound. McLaren's rookie Lando Norris brought out the only red flag of the session as he stopped off the track. Ferrari also hit a bit of a stumbling block as well, with cooling checks limiting Charles Leclerc's running. And Williams had a good start to the week with more laps today than they did all of last week.
Time for some American sports now, and a football franchise owner has a serious lawsuit on his back. New England Patriots boss Robert Kraft faces human trafficking charges as well as prostitution charges. Kraft has strongly denied all allegations, however police claim they now have video evidence. The first-degree misdemeanour occurred on the 20th of January, the day of the Patriots championship game at the Chiefs. His prosecution means he could face up to a year in prison and a mandatory $5,000 fine. Basketball history was made last night. LeBron James sealed his place in the record books as he became the first player in NBA history to reach the top 10 lists in both assists and points scored. The Lakers player now has over 8,500 assists and more than 32,000 points. That's all from us for now. I'm Joe Langsworthy. Thank you for tuning in.